A trembling little girl, her cheeks streaked with tears and dust, ran barefoot down a lonely country road straight toward a roaring line of leather-clad bikers. Her small voice broke through the thunder of engines as she screamed, "They're beating my mama." The leader hit the brakes so hard his Harley fishtailed, the gang falling silent behind him. In that instant, the open road turned into a battlefield of justice. What those bikers did next would shock the entire town and restore faith in humanity. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story will remind you that heroes don't always wear badges. Sometimes, they wear leather and ride steel. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when the roar of engines echoed through the outskirts of Mason County, a small forgotten town in the heart of Tennessee. The air smelled of gasoline, summer dust, and freedom, the kind that only bikers truly understand. Leading the convoy was Jack Hammer Dalton, a former Marine and the founding member of a group called the Road Saints. They weren't your typical biker gang, sure. They looked rough with their tattoos, beards, and chains, but deep down, they stood for something. Protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. They rode for fallen soldiers, raised money for local shelters, and helped anyone who crossed their path in need. That day, they were just cruising back from a charity ride for wounded vets, unaware that fate was about to throw them into a story that would spread across the entire country. The sun was beginning to dip when the rumble of engines filled the empty road. From the corner of his eye, Jack noticed movement, a blur of pink and white running out from behind an abandoned cornfield. The line of bikes slowed instinctively, each rider alert. Then they saw her. A little girl no older than 7 or 8, barefoot, crying and waving her arms desperately. She stumbled and fell to her knees right in the middle of the road. Jack slammed the brakes, kicked down his stand, and ran to her. She clutched his vest with trembling hands and gasped, "Please, help my mama, they're beating her." The words hit him like a hammer to the chest. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Jack asked, lowering himself to meet her teary eyes. "Lila," she sobbed. "They're hurting my mama at the old Miller house. Please, you have to come." Without a word, Jack turned to his brothers. His second-in-command, Bear, a 6'4" mountain of muscle, nodded without hesitation. "Led the way, boss," he grunted. The group of 10 bikers revved their engines, and the road shook beneath them as they followed Lila's small figure pointing down a narrow dirt path. The path twisted through tall grass and broken fences until they reached a dilapidated farmhouse on the edge of nowhere. The paint peeled like dead skin, the windows were boarded, and somewhere inside, a scream tore through the air, raw and terrified. Jack's heart pounded. He signaled his crew to kill their engines and move in quietly. From the half-broken porch, they could hear male voices shouting, the unmistakable sound of fists hitting flesh, and the sobbing of a woman. Jack motioned for 2 men to circle around back. He pushed the front door open with his boot, and it slammed against the wall. Inside, the scene froze everyone. A man stood towering over a woman curled on the floor, her face bruised, her arm covering her head. 2 other men stood nearby, drunk, laughing, bottles in hand. "Who the hell are you?" one of them slurred, spinning toward Jack. Jack didn't answer. He stepped forward, his voice low and deadly calm. "We're the ones who just found out you've been hitting a lady. That ends now." The drunk lunged first, swinging a bottle, but before it could connect, Bear grabbed him by the throat and slammed him into the wall so hard the plaster cracked. Another tried to run, but 2 bikers caught him at the door and pinned him down. The man beating the woman staggered back, reaching for a knife on the table. Jack moved faster than his age suggested, knocking the blade away and driving him into the floor with the force of a freight train. "Touch her again, and you'll answer to me," he growled. The house fell silent except for the sound of the woman's sobs. Lila ran in and threw herself into her mother's arms. "Mama!" she cried. The woman, blood on her lip, whispered through tears, "Lila, baby, you found help." Jack knelt beside them. "You're safe now, Mom. We called the cops on the way here," he said. In truth, Bear had already radioed the sheriff's office from his helmet mic. Within minutes, the wail of sirens grew in the distance. The bikers stood guard as the men were handcuffed and taken away. When the dust settled, the sheriff, a wary old man who'd known Jack for years, nodded. "You and your boys might have just saved her life," he said quietly. Jack just shrugged. "Didn't do it for thanks," he said. "The little one asked for help. we answered. But the story didn't end there. The woman, whose name was Marissa, had been living in fear for years. The man who attacked her was her ex-husband, a local who'd fallen deep into drugs and anger after losing his job. That night, he and his friends had broken into her home after she refused to give them money. Leela had managed to slip out the back door and run for miles barefoot until she saw the bikers. Fate had crossed their paths at the exact moment she needed it most. In the following days, news spread through Mason County like wildfire. The local paper ran the headline, "Biker Gang Saves Local Woman and Child." Social media caught fire. The video one deputy had recorded of the bikers standing beside the mother and daughter went viral overnight. People from all across the country commented, calling them heroes. But the road saints didn't crave attention, they just kept riding. Still, the encounter haunted Jack in quiet moments. He'd seen war, he'd seen cruelty, but there was something about that child's scream that cut deeper than anything before. A week later, he rode back to the farmhouse with Bear. They brought groceries, a few toys and a new door lock. Marissa opened the door, still healing but stronger now. "You didn't have to come," she said softly. "We wanted to," Jack replied. "Everyone deserves a chance to start over." As they talked, Leela came running out with a picture she'd drawn. It showed a group of bikers standing in front of her house, sunlight behind them, and the words, "My angels on wheels," scrawled at the top. Jack's tough exterior cracked into a smile. "You keep that spirit, kid," he said. "You're braver than most people I've ever met." A life slowly began to rebuild for Marissa and Leela. The community, once judgmental of the bikers, now welcomed them with open arms. Donations poured in. Local businesses offered Marissa a job. One of the bikers, a mechanic named Colt, fixed up her old pickup for free. What had started as a moment of terror became the spark that united an entire town. Months passed, and the world moved on, but fate wasn't finished with them yet. One cold evening, Jack received a call from Sheriff Hank. "Dalton, you better sit down for this," the sheriff said. "The guy you helped arrest, he escaped during transport. He's dangerous, and he's looking for her." Jack's jaw tightened. "Then we'll find him first." By dawn, the road saints were on the hunt. They scoured backroads, abandoned motels, and truck stops. It was Bear who finally spotted the man's car parked behind an old gas station on Route 19. They approached quietly, but the man saw them coming and fled into the woods. Jack chased him through the trees until the ground gave way to a steep ravine. "You can't run forever," Jack shouted. The man turned, a gun trembling in his hand. "You don't know what she did to me," he yelled. "She left me." Jack raised his hands. "She left because you gave her no choice." Put the gun down. But rage had consumed him. He fired, once, twice, missing by inches. Jack tackled him, and the gun skidded down the hill. They struggled in the dirt until Bear appeared, helping subdue him once more. When it was over, Jack stood over the man, breathing hard. "You had a second chance," he said quietly. "You wasted it." The police took him away again, this time to a high-security facility. Word spread again, how the bikers not only saved Marissa but also protected her from the man who tried to come back. Reporters called, interviews were offered, but Jack refused them all. "We just do what's right," he said. "That's all." By summer, Marissa and Leela had moved to a new town, thanks to a donation fund set up by strangers who'd seen their story online. Before they left, they visited the road saints one last time at their garage. Leela hugged Jack tightly. "Thank you for saving my mama," she whispered. Jack knelt beside her and said, "No, sweetheart, you saved her. You were the one brave enough to run for help." She smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Then we both saved her," she said. When they rode away that evening, the setting sun turned the sky gold. The roar of engines faded into the wind, leaving behind a memory that would live in the hearts of everyone who'd heard it. What started as an act of violence became a testament to courage, loyalty, and humanity. The town would never look at those leather vests the same way again. Months later, Jack sat by the fire outside the clubhouse, staring at the stars. Bear handed him a beer. "You ever think about that day?" Bear asked. Jack nodded slowly. "Every damn day," he said. "Makes me believe there's a reason we're still here. Sometimes, God puts you on the road just long enough to meet the right cry for help." A bear grunted. "Maybe that's what we're meant to do. Keep riding till the next one finds us." Jack smiled, the flicker of firelight dancing in his eyes. "Then we ride," he said softly. "Always." And so they did, the road saints, angels of the asphalt, roaring through backroads and small towns, leaving behind stories of courage and kindness wherever the road took them. Some said they were ghosts, others called them heroes. But for one little girl and her mother, they were everything. And even years later, whenever the wind howled down Mason County's empty highway, some swore they could still hear the faint echo of engines in the distance, a reminder that not all heroes wear capes. Some just wear black leather and answer the cry of a child. If this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments. What part of the country are you watching from? And remember, sometimes the bravest acts come from the unlikeliest heroes. Stay kind, stay strong, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove humanity still has hope.